Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what parenting trend you strongly disagree with? Recording your children when you punish them. That's private, not for the public. Anything posted on the internet lasts forever. And children are cruel. Wait until at school, see. They will carry that their entire lives. The cyberbullying was coming from inside the house. My biggest and cruelest bullies were always adult members of my own family. Putting your child's life on the social media and monetizing it. I blame that honey boo boo shit. Overscheduling activities. When I was teaching, I remember my kindergartners telling me they had no time to play because every day consisted of non-stop structured sports, dance and such. When I was teaching, I had an 8-year-old student who kept falling asleep in class. We found out it was because Dad was getting him up at 5 for sports practice. I had a friend growing up who every day his dad would make him get up an hour early before school, so like 6 a.m., to go and shoot a number of baskets, I think 50 or 100, can't remember, before school, and then again after school before he could go out and play. That was just the tip of the iceberg. Once we got to middle school, they started paying to have him go to school in other towns so he would be able to make the basketball team. Eventually he started acting out, and last time I heard is a mess, mid-30s, no license, job, etc. His dad basically damaged his own son's life and development also he could live out a fantasy of him playing in the NBA, which wasn't going to happen. Overprotection. Kids need to slowly, safely learn to manage risk, and that means that they must take risks. Not letting kids learn this hurts them as adults, and preparing kids for lives as adults is really what parenting is all about. Last year I taught my son about risk vs reward. He always raced down the hill from school, and it made me nervous because the sidewalk has big cracks in it and some of the pieces stick up a little bit. I told him I don't want him to run because I'm afraid he'll fall, but it's up to him. Is the reward of running worth the risk of falling? He decided it was, and one day he walked in, sobbing, because he had fallen and hurt himself. Once I had comforted him and cleaned him up, I asked if it was worth it and he said yes. Lol. Your kid already understands the human spirit. Knowing something is dumb and dangerous but doing it anyway because it's fun and they can. Not letting their kids make mistakes. These types of children get a breakdown when everything goes wrong. I'm one of those children, and was like a brick to the face when I had to start making decisions on my own. My father-in-law made sure his daughters, my sisters-in-law, never had to experience a single consequence or reaction for their mistakes. They are adults in their late 2020s now and both cannot handle the slightest gust of wind. They are very immature and developmentally arrested. One of them has never worked or paid a bill, and this is not a rich family. My 9-year-old left a big project until 9:30 before the night it was due, despite me asking multiple times if he had homework during the weekend, and came to me crying and wanting to finish it. I said absolutely not. He had school the next day, he wouldn't do a good job because he would be rushing and he was upset and tired. But the most important thing is that I told him he had to tell his teacher the truth and that he had to own the fact that he neglected his work and would take the consequences whatever they may be. I knew they wouldn't be harsh. He's in grade 4 and his teacher is pretty lax. But he's been a lot better about being honest about schoolwork after that. I helped him finish the project the next day after school, and it was a good thing I made him wait cause it took almost 2 hours. I've been that child. It probably would have been better for me if I got the same lesson. Oversharing stuff about your kids on social media. A picture of little Johnny's poop in the potty is not cute, it's disgusting. You wouldn't post a picture of your own feces in the toilet, doesn't make any difference coming from a 2-year-old. I had a former co-worker tell me her 2-year-old daughter found her clit. I feel so disgusting just typing that. She has no filter ill or online. Edit. The little girl found her own, not her mom's. What a day to be literate. Edit. Y'all are having too much fun with the clitorate puns. Lol. 2 wholesome awards. I don't think those really fit the bill here. The thing is, kids will definitely know about their own genitals sooner than we expect, and that discovery will definitely not be consciously sexual. It's a normal thing. But telling a co-worker, that's a hell of an awkward conversation, /. You wouldn't post a picture of your own feces in the toilet. Sure, totally. Absolutely no one does that, MHMM. Making your child terrified to fail. I gave up on so many things because I repeatedly got called fucky idiot if I wasn't instantly an expert. I have a friend with a 9-year-old brother and the kid won't do anything because he is too scared to fail. He doesn't even want to ride bikes because he is too scared to fail, and honestly it's pretty sad. I'm an adult who can't ride a bike in part of being raised to fear everything and can big relate to this. If you are always scared of falling, you'll never take the leaps and risks that can elevate and enrich your life in so many ways. Had to teach myself out of it, but to this day, for every success I have a pile of past regrets too, still can't ride a bike. This was me. My parents never taught me to cook or bake. One time I was at my cousin's house when I was 12 or 13 and we were baking cookies. The recipe called for however many cups of brown sugar and I didn't know that you were supposed to pack it. My cousin or my aunt, I don't remember, let me know to pack it and it wasn't a big deal and we made the cookies. Well, it must have come up in conversation, my aunt probably just mentioned it to my stepmom or something, but at some point after that when I was home I got screamed at for being so stupid that I didn't know how to pack brown sugar. Never mind that I wasn't allowed to use anything in the kitchen except the microwave, so not sure how I was supposed to know that. When I lived on my own, I obviously learned how to cook and bake by following recipes, but I was lacking on technique. My first year of marriage my husband and I were cooking dinner and I was chopping cilantro, badly. My husband came over and very nicely showed me what to do so I could chop correctly. I then had a meltdown because I was worried he thought I was too stupid to cook dinner. Yeah. Having meltdowns over the slightest criticism is really fun for both me and my husband. I knew a few kids that went through similar experiences but with grades. I knew one girl whose parents would not accept any grade below a B+. She once got a C+ and was grounded for a month. Now her parents complain to my parents that she rarely comes around to see them. Extremely strict rules in general. I had a childhood friend that came over after school once and he said he had to be home by 6. Didn't think much of it, so we lost track of time playing games. He lived about a 10-minute walk up the street and he noticed it was 5:52, then started freaking out. My dad's gonna kill me if I'm late. I tried saying he wouldn't care about 2 minutes. The next day in school my friend said he wasn't allowed over my house anymore, and I never hung out with him again, all over this kid being 2 minutes late getting home. I don't think I would have thought of it when I was a kid, but reading a situation like this now it just screams abuse of some kind. As someone who was emotionally and mentally abused as a child, this was a bread and butter tactic. Setting boundaries for your child, however silly they may seem, was once given a curfew a mere hour after I arrived at the friend's house, and if your child fails it then gives the parent justification in the following abuse. I don't want to have to do this, but you're 3 minutes late and you don't follow the rules, so etc. Not saying no to your children. I don't understand the logic. Setting behavioral boundaries and maintaining those boundaries through black and white logic makes perfect sense to me. This for me too. My boyfriend's 10-year-old niece is never told number. Both her parents and grandparents let her do whatever she wants, and then act shocked when she misbehaves. But if they say no, they'll crush her creative spirit. I'm terrified for what that girl will be like when she gets older. She's already immensely entitled, and it will only get worse from here. Don't say no isn't supposed to mean say yes to everything, you're supposed to reframe the situation. I want candy. Well, dinner is in 20 minutes, so it would be better to save room for the healthy stuff. Not just sure. You want a cigarette and a hookah too. You can say no without leaving it at no. SMH. I feel like this is one of those parenting methods that has gotten completely taken out of context and turned into something terrible. Saying no less is actually very effective. Not saying no at all is not very effective. Yeah, I think the idea is to explain and reason with kids and avoid the because I said so line. That being said, I have kids and try to do this, but there are times, after explaining the why behind the no, I eventually just have to say something like, I explained why, we aren't discussing this anymore, you have your answer. Disciplining children based on what other parents are doing. What works for one kid won't work for others. Freak man, I can't even discipline my kids based on what works on their sibling lol. Boy, was that a hard lesson when my kids were younger. What worked for one most definitely did not work for the other. One found it torturous to be separated from the action, time out in bedroom, while the other would be like, wahoo. Alone time. Parents who give their children the silent treatment. Going hours, days, or longer without speaking, making the children feel guilty, ashamed, and confused about what the real problem is instead of dealing with it openly and forthrightly. I don't know if this counts, but I dated a girl whose father saw her kissing a boy at like 13-14. He completely broke off contact with her. By that I mean they lived in the same house, he paid the bills and would ask her administrative questions. Do you need anything from the store? What time do you need me to pick you up? Besides that, he didn't speak to her until her first long-term relationship. The level of mental/emotional damage this dude did is indescribable. Edit, I didn't expect this to get so much attention. It seems like this is more common than it has any business being. In case anyone is wondering, the girl is doing well and, from what I can tell, has a wonderful life. It didn't work out between us, but I'm grateful for the time I had with that beautiful person. To all of you who went through something similar, I'm truly sorry it happened to you. You deserve better, and please don't let anyone make you think different. I had a friend who introduced her parents to a guy she was dating at 20 years old, first hint of dating, not a boyfriend or living together, mind you. Her mother completely shut her out and her dad followed suit, though she cried and begged to know what was wrong. It took her a week to talk to her, and the mom dumped on her that she had an aunt somewhere, who got pregnant young and was disowned by their entire family including her mom. Mid-1970s Catholic family, and they all decided the woman just never existed. Needless to say, my friend lost all trust that she had a good relationship with her parents. Nothing but good grades and obedience and church and good choices for 20 years, and she learned in one fell swoop that her mom had dropped a family member completely, and not only did she think the worst of her daughter in the moment, but one bad choice and she would suffer the same fate as her estranged aunt. My parents sometimes did this. Now as an adult I find it really hard sometimes to communicate my feelings, and I bottle things in. Never had open communication growing up. It was either silent treatment or yelling. No conversation where I got to say my piece. Same. I didn't realize just how bad it messed me up until I got a good therapist who helped me understand why I shut down at any sort of conflict.